to all about what I color with the all abouts. Yeah, we need a name for it. So any ideas, I would appreciate it. I'm gonna be coloring an image, a butterfly or something. Uh, and it's gonna be the complete process, like what I choose to underpaint, all the flicks, you're gonna see them. What is it that I color first? What other tools I use, because I always use color pencils, the paper I'm using. Um, Here I use also a Sharpie. It's a Sharpie water base white, and it gives you these little dots. Um, I love them. Also for the highlights. So you will see where I push. We talked about this a little bit before. Where I push so it looks far away from us, and where I lift, push and pull, sorry, pull. So that will be the little highlights. It makes it look closer to us. I'm Elena with violetaink.com, and we sell Copic markers, refills, the nibs, Prismacolor pencils. Thank you. Okay, so let's start by looking at these two images. They do come in the same package from the Sketch Garden. You see on the left one, you see all those little lines, all the little sketch lines, those right there. That's gonna show you where to underpaint. The one on the right is gonna be when you are a little bit more confident and you think, oh, I don't need that one. Just like me, I am very brave, and I'm gonna be using the one with no guides. Most of the time I do use the one with no guides, unless the image has the guides and there's nothing I can do. So we are using the bonus combination for last week's All About, which is R46. This is B32. We're underpainting. You don't have to flick here, really. It's a tiny bitty place. I am underpainting the whole little piece because it's under a couple of petals and we're not gonna see, well, we do see a little bit of the top. Now, think, what is under what? Which one would be darker? So in my mind, this is dark because it's under 1, 2, 3 petals. So I'm only using B32 and R46. Now, on top of it, we're gonna see the end side or the top side of that same petal. I did not underpaint it. I only use R46. Now it's R17. And then we're gonna end it with R14. So that would be considered our first full petal. Now, I'm gonna underpaint a little bit here to make sure that we give the depth that this petal will need because of the supples, I believe. Amy, is that how it's pronounced? Anyway, so I underpainted a little bit in this part right here because it's under this other petal, just a little bit. That was R46. Now remember, we underpaint with B32, and then we go with R46. Remember that R46 has to cover all of the underpainted, all of the B32. We are using B32 as an underpaint for R46, not for R17. That means that if you leave a little piece of B32 showing, R17 is not going to be able to cover it. This is, I think I missed a little part of the video because my camera kept dying, but I fixed that. Anyway, I underpainted that one. Now we're going with R17, always leaving a little space for R14. We want to give the same treatment to all of the petals. This image is perfect for you to practice. The first thing I do when I choose an image is I go and investigate. I look at it a lot. My son looks at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I am looking at this flower. Why? Well, because I need to know what is it that I'm going to do. it's kind of like a map. You're gonna map it out. You need to know, is this under this? Oh, you can see my glasses. I do wear glasses to color. I didn't before because I didn't want to admit that I'm gonna be 50 in a few years. Very few years. Anyway, you have to map it out. You have to know, okay, so is this on top of this? Is this on top of that? And it's really interesting. You get very into the coloring. Here, we are underpainting, again, with B32. Now, I'm building a fence right here because I am not that exact. I am not that precise. And then I'm flicking away from it. I am flicking away the way I would think the petal is gonna flow, which is gonna go around and up. Now you can see right here, around and then to the center. There, right there. That was our 17, and we're gonna end it with our 14. Our 14 is gonna be the slowest. Now, just in this little part, you can see how we are starting to see a little bit of depth. That looked very deep to me. That's why I underpainted that part. That was B32, and then on top of it, R46, R17. I probably did not need R14, but oh, I didn't use it. Good job. Good job, me. Okay, so this is B32. We're underpainting. Now, the underpainted is gonna look a little bit dark, like a little bit too dark. It's okay. Give it a few hours and it changes. Your coloring changes. It's the chemical reaction happening that is gonna blend it better. It's gonna make it look more together. This is gonna be underpainted completely because in my mind it's very deep. Now, if you don't agree, tell me. Tell me, why is it that you don't think it should be underpainted? Or where am I missing a part where it should be underpainted? This little part, I just wanted to give it like a little bit of depth. That was B32. This is R46. This is being filmed right after I filmed the All About for R46. And if you see that, you'll remember that my B32 decided to explode. That is why my hand has some ink, some blue ink on it. We're underpainting that tiny bitty piece. Now, those tiny bitty pieces give so much character to your coloring because it means that you're paying attention, that the time you're devoting to color, which to me is relaxing. So, and I do have to make time to relax, and I am sure you too. You work really hard to be able to make the time. So, concentrate. Give it that depth to the image, that 3D effect. And little by little, it's gonna come nature to you. You don't have to pay that much attention. You could actually color while you're watching TV or listening to something. Here, I am not listening to anything. This one is R14. As you see, I left a bigger space for R14 because I feel that that petal is kind of like coming towards us. So I wanted to give it that depth. This is B32. This petal is under 2 petals. R46. I'm making fences because I want to make sure that it is more precise. Flicking away from the fence is always a flick motion. I don't color any other way, and I always color dark to light. This is R17, and I did not use R14. If you see that petal, compare it to the one we just did, you can see the difference. It's little by little that you're going to learn how to do this on your own. But remember, you also get the other image in this package from the Sketch Garden, where it will show you where you need to underpaint, which at first is really, really useful. This is R14. We're ending it. You see how in this one I decided to use R14, but not in the one under. Always trying to think ahead that it will give you a little bit more depth. This is the little part where I say it gives it character to your image, and it shows that you pay attention to it. Those little bitty parts. This is R17, and yeah, I'm not using R14 anymore. Not in that one. I keep my markers on my left hand, the 4. If I'm doing a Rebel combination, which you're gonna see, I think next week next week actually, when we work on YR23 all about. Well, we work on YR23 yesterday, but the image that I color, that was gonna be a Rebel combination. I can hold all the markers in my hand, but if I'm only doing something like this or leaves, I always keep them in my hand and by order. You see in this petal, I tried to give it the illusion of the middle of the petal is deeper. Now this one is under 2. Well, this one is under like 1, 2, 3. That little bitty piece. This is another petal, and we go petal by petal. Don't think, oh, I could do 3, I could do 4. If the image is very small, maybe you can do 2 at a time or something, which means, you underpaint everything, and then you do R46, and then you do R17. But I recommend you start by doing 1 by 1. Take your time, do 1 by 1. So this is B32. On top, we're adding R46. How would this petal move? How would this petal look if it's in real life? That is R17, which goes on top of it. And this is R14, which is going to be, because it's on top of all the petals, they're going to be pushing it a little bit forward. This one is below 2. 1, 2, yeah, 2. And I do not know why I jump from one petal to the other. Just like I told you not to, but, do as I say, not as I do. This, I'm underpainting. I already underpainted, and now I'm going with R46. We're flicking away. I'm trying to give it the darkness that it needs right in the middle, but I also want to use R17. And we're going to end it with R14. I am not so sure about that decision. Maybe I should have used a little bit less of R14. Now I'm making this one as if it's deeper in the middle. and the sides of the petal are coming up. So that is R46. That's why we have a long line, a long flick of R46 in the middle. And then on the sides, I used R17. And we're going to end it with R14. Now I want you to look at the one on the left, the one we just did. You see how the difference is not that much? I should have used only R17 on that one. But that's a mistake that I didn't even see at that moment. Maybe later I'll catch it with the overpainting. We underpainted. And now we're going with R46. That's not true. That is R17. Well, I did use R46 first. And we're finishing it with R14. Because I always overpaint with Prismacolor pencils, I always think, oh, I can fix that later. Well, I can, but if you really just want to do Copic, then you need to pay attention when you're doing this. Okay, so here, because they're all together, okay? In my defense, they're all these little petals are together. That's why I'm underpainting everybody. This is R46. Very careful with that little, I believe they're called sepals. I think. Anyway, that was R46, and I am using R46. I can't believe I'm doing what I just told you not to. Oh my God. Okay, so R46 over all the underpainting. This is R17 on top of it. Okay, well, at least I'm doing this petal, finishing this petal, all of it. This is R14. And I call this back blending. I don't even think it has a name. I just blend from the opposite way that you started. So I don't, because R14 is gonna have more colorless blender, which that's what it is the ink. And then colorless blender is what starts making the lighter and lighter numbers. Like R17 is gonna have less, R14 is gonna have more. R14, because it has more, is going to take a little bit from R46. It's gonna make it a little bit lighter. So there are times when I don't want that. And I know this one will blend. I don't need to go all the way to R46. So in this case, that's what I did. I didn't go all the way to R46. I can keep that darkness. I'm underpainting this little petal with B32, being artistic and, doing some weird flicks right there. This is R46. I continue like very confident, trying to be very artistic. And then I'm doing R17. And we're finishing it with R14. Now I do like the end of it, the finished result. It looks like that petal is like deep in the middle and then it goes up. This is B32. We are underpainting that little piece of petal. R46 on top of it. Always flicking so we can have some little flakes to blend with the next one. This is R17. Did any of you guys started coloring light to dark? I think my first two images that I color, I did them that way. And then it went dark to light. I was not underpainting, not until I took the class with Amy Scholke. It's called Marker Painting Foundation. which I learned to underpaint. And it makes so much sense to me. It's like, why didn't I think of this? And the truth is because I had never touched anything to color or even anything crafty, anything, none. That was R46. And on top of it, I'm going pretty much all the way to the end with R17 and just gonna give it a little bit of R14. So here we are underpainting with B32. Same process. Remember, this is how you're gonna practice. This is your practice. Why didn't I underpaint all the way to the tip, like all the way to the corner? I do not know. I should have, because that is going to be very, very dark. Yeah, you see how it doesn't look right? I should have underpainted that. So I overpainted with R46, and this is, and then I just ended it with R46. We are going to underpaint this one. I'm just making it dark just at the beginning. We're going on top of it with R46, flicking away, making sure all of B32 is covered. This is R17. Remember, those flakes are going kind of curve, like a C curve going up. And this is R14. Now, by now you already saw the video, part of the video, and you see how I color. You should subscribe. We're gonna be having a lot of more videos like this, not only the all abouts, which are very interesting, but you will be able to see how I color the images that we use. So I am underpainting this part, and I'm already on my darkest of the combination, which is R46. This is R17. And we ended with R14. You could use so many different colors with this. I would love to see them. This is R14 still. The slowest. Now let's practice let's wait for a big petal so we can do the speed. And I'm underpainting. Like you see right there, I went all the way to the corner. But no, in the one before, I did not. This one, we're underpainting that. I try not to underpaint all the way to the left, because then it's gonna look like it's gonna blend with each other. I wanna give it a little bit of R17 right next to the part where I underpainted, so you can see the difference, like who's on top of the other. Now this is R17. We're flicking away from R46, and on top of it is gonna be R14. Now let's see if that little one on the back, I only use R46, which is what I should do. Yay! I did it! We're underpainting with B32, just a little bit. R46. And R17 should be it. Of course not. Just a little bit with R14. And only a little bit of R46. You might think the petals are going to be the darkest closer to the stem, not the stem, the sepal, I think. Well, wait, let's do the speed here. The fastest is going to be your underpainted, which is B32. Now, a little bit slower is going to be R46. Now, medium speed is going to be R17, which is our medium color. Now, the slowest is going to be R14. The longer the nib is touching the paper, the more ink is deposited into it. That means that you get a better blend. Remember, blending is not how many times you go with the marker up and down and up and down. Blending is a chemical reaction. You need enough ink in it to happen. I underpainted all of this. Now we're going to go on top of it with R46, making sure we cover all of it, and then flicking away from that fence. This is R17. And on top of it, we're going to go slowest with R14. At this moment, not right now, but back when I was recording this, I was not thinking about the speed anymore because I'd done this so many times. So it does get easier, just practice. This is B32, and on top of it, I'm going with R46, flicking away. R17. And we ended with R14. Now, this is the first video that we release that has a full colored image. Do you prefer if I was to speed the coloring? Or do you want it to be, just the way I did it this time? Because I can talk and talk and talk. But would you prefer that? This is a longer video, of course, than what you used to with the all abouts. The all abouts, they used to be 5 minutes, and then people told me, no, don't speed it up. Do it live. So now they're like about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, depending how fast I am that day. This one, because it has so many details and so many petals, it is gonna take me longer. It is gonna take me longer, even though I believe I'm kind of fast while I'm flicking. So what would you prefer? Would you prefer if we do this regular speed, or do I speed it up? Let me know. Write it down in the description box so I'll know. The paper I'm using here is Cryogen. Amy Scholke started using it a long time ago, and I seen it in different places where they market it different names, but you can find it in Amazon. Again, the link is in the description box. And I love this to color, especially for the card makers out there. Express It is a beautiful paper. It's beautiful to learn how to color with because it blends so well. But this one looks better in cards. I don't make cards anymore, but it doesn't have the shiny. It has a sparkle though. It has a sparkle, which I love, but it doesn't have shininess to it. It doesn't have the plasticky look that Express It has it. This one we're finishing with R14. Slowly. And I already underpainted this petal. We're going around the sepal. If that's not the name, I am sure you guys will tell me. This is R17. And now is R14. I move the paper all the time. All the time. I flick away from myself, from my body, the best. So that's how I color. When you see me doing the all abouts, I try not to move the paper a lot because I don't want to make you dizzy and I want you to understand it. But now that I was doing this, I realized you need to see it, because if you don't, I know it happened to me. If I see my teacher or whoever is demonstrating this to do it without moving the paper, I think that's the way it should be, right? If they can do it that way, that means I can do it that way. And then I saw Amy live in a retreat coloring. And first, she colors super fast. Second, she moves her paper all the time because the way she's left-handed and she flicks away from her body. And that's how she feels her best flicks are. So she always tries for her whole image to have her best flicks. So that's what I learned at that retreat. That was the main thing I learned. And this is why I color this way. I move the paper. And of course, I underpainted all of this while I was talking, instead of doing it the way I told you to do it. But I'm underpainted and I'm already going with R46. This is R17. Flicking away from the fence that I built with R46. And we're just gonna finish this blend with R14. Being very, very careful. I already underpainted. This is R46, flicking away from the fence. Oh, what happened? I guess I missed something. This is R46 now. Oh yeah, I told you my battery kept dying. This is R46, flicking away, almost there. R17. And we finish it with R14. Now for our last petal. This is R46 because I had already underpainted it. You know, I'm being creative with my flicking. This is R17. And we're gonna end it with R14. And just doing the last little flicks. So the petals are done. Oh wait, I was missing a little part there. That was B32 and this is R46. You see how right away you can see the depth of it. Now we're gonna do the middle of the daisy. I am just giving it a little bit of underpainting. You know, the middle of this daisy is gonna be a ball that is going up. like a cylinder. But that cylinder has a bunch of little balls, a bunch of little round things. And I wanted to give the illusion that, that there's that this is not a two-dimensional image, that is a 3D image. So I'm using B000. I'm going to be using a yellow here in a moment. And yellows are very wimpy. So you can't use the very saturated B color to do the underpainting. Now I'm doing just a little bit on the top. So now we're gonna go with YR23. I wanted to give it a golden kind of color. That's why I chose this one. So now I'm just adding dots to all those little parts where I use B000. It's the same concept. We have to cover everything that we underpainted. So, go to every single little part that you went with B000. The zeros, the 0, 0, zeros, quadruple zeros, I never used them before until I started underpainting. And you need them for these kind of colors. So I'm pretty much done. And the good thing is with this image, you can see where, even though this one is not the one that is sketch to show you where to underpaint, you can see where it should be. This is YR21. I'm going on top of what I did with YR23 and a little bit more, a little bit wider, a little bit higher and down, so we can start getting a full color image. And it's starting to give that look. As I think it's the pollen. That little dust that goes and makes more flowers. That one. I think that's what it is in the middle. So it's gonna be dusty. Now I believe I needed more YR23. So I'm adding a little bit more. You see all the little corners, all the little B's, V's, the nooks and crannies. That's where your darkest is going to be. Maybe I should have added a little bit of green, but for this one, it's our first time. I was nervous. I just saw my PJs. Anyway, this is YR21 because even though we wanted to have a lot of texture, we still want it to be blended. And I don't think I'm using another marker. Well, maybe I am. Let's see. Because I am coloring all the little sepals of it. Yeah, maybe not. Now, do you see the dimension of it? Now you understand why it takes me so long to color. This is Amy's fault. So I am going to use now a Sharpie water-based extra fine point in white. And I am going to give it the highlights. So I believe, and also more texture. I mean, you're going to see it's very, very texture. So I'm adding a lot of these little dots in the middle. And then I'm going to add more on the sides, but not as much. Where I placed it is going to be where we used only YR21, not where we underpainted. You will have little dots here and there, but that is the idea. that it looks as if it's the higher point of it. So I love this thing. I have a lot of them. I think they were discontinued. You can also use the Posca water base. I think they're water based too. Let me see. I have one right here. Posca. It doesn't say, but they do the same thing. It's Uni Posca, and it's also on in white. I will add the link in the description box. Now, I am adding highlights because, I'm extra. And I'm finding the petals that I think will have a higher little piece where the sun will shine, where the highlights will be. You're supposed to only do a little bit, but that's not me. I wanted a lot of it, especially because the pictures were not looking very good, and I'm like, no, I want more. So this is gonna be the end of this coloring session. I guess that's a good name, coloring sessions. It's only Copic. It was very long already, so I didn't want to make you be here way longer. Don't forget to subscribe and go visit the sketch garden. Come back, watch the video again, and color with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.